Okay, we're live. I think we're live. We're live right now.
We're live.
Ladies and gents out there, all the way YouTube, everybody out there all around the world. We got a few people here tuned in. We got Flip and Phil on the show right now. Mark Hall from Flip and Phil. This guy's a legend, hailing all the way from the UK, but currently in Spain. We got Mark Hall right here. Mark, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you so much for having me, mate. Thank you. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, the radio show last week was brilliant, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to have you on. And, we're going to get through a lot of questions that we have here. A lot of people are curious about Flip and Phil. They're curious about finding out, how you got started and everything.
Yeah.
If you don't know who Flip and Phil is, why don't you run them down, run the people down, everything that you've done, all your accomplishments.
Okay, basically, Flip and Phil is a DJ term, okay? It means flip the track, fill the dance floor, yeah?
Oh, really? There we go, something new.
There you go, flip the track, fill the dance floor, because that was our plan. I had a partner, Graham. We was working together in 98 in a pop band, and we got enough money to get together a studio to make dance music. We went to Ibiza, and we found this DJ that was doing sort of trance music with vocals over the top. And I said to Graham, I said, we've got to do this type of music. It's amazing. So we got a CD off this guy, right? And he was a Dutch DJ. This was 1999, I think it was. So we got a CD off this guy, this DJ, and it had loads of trance records on there, but with vocals, but not proper vocals, just acapellas and people getting, like typical house music DJs do. We always get acapellas and put them on with instrumentals and things like that. Well, anyway, not many people had done it with Dutch music and with trance music. So it's like, wow, hang on a sec. There's thousands of trance records out there and there's no vocals on them. So it's like, right, we're doing this. So we decided to start doing trance music with vocals on. So we got loads of different hits that had made big years ago in the hardcore scene that were maybe too fast to put on the radio, like Shooting Star. We said, right, okay, Shooting Star. Let's re-sing it, slow it down to 140 BPM so everyone's not running like idiots when they're dancing. And then it's acceptable for radio. So what we did was we got a load of fast hardcore songs that would never see the light of day, brought them down to 140 BPM, dancing speed, released them all, and then we just got an influx of 5 years worth of remixes. I'm not joking you now. We must have done about at least 700 remixes in that 5 years. And it was from, I'm not joking you, from Shirley Bassey to Grace Jones to Girls Aloud, everybody. People coming up to us because they wanted, if they made like a pop band, like example, Girls Aloud. If Girls Aloud released a single 20 years ago, it would go in the charts, but you wouldn't necessarily hear that song in a dance club. Well, the girls decided, well, if we get Mark and Graham to remix this for us, then when we go out to the nightclubs, we can hear it in the nightclubs and all the DJs will play it. So the thing was, we got a lot of pop artists coming up to us saying, look, can you make our pop records into dance and get them in the nightclub? So that's what started us off. We had a load of hit singles till about 2007, and it's just been a slow burn since then. But that's how it came together, and that's what we do.
So you're telling me that all these artists like Scooter, Lasgo, DJ Alligator, Aquagen, Milk Inc., DJ Sammy, the list just goes on and on. You're telling me all these people, they approached you because of your legacy? No,
they don't. No, it wasn't like that at the time. There was a lot of trance music about, and everyone was dabbling a bit. There was Milk Inc. Milk Inc. came along after us, so we were before them. We were the first ones to actually release a trance record with a vocal on it. So we were the first, but there was a lot of people doing it, and it's not hard to just put a vocal on a style of music. There's loads of different styles of music at the time that hadn't been broke. So from that time, a lot of people came to the record label that we were signed to, and the record label started with us. So our
record label was all around the world. Was that it?
Yeah, that was all around the world. Now, all around the world was responsible for the Clubland albums as well. So there was not just me and Graham as Flip and Phil. There was loads of different bands on all around the world through the Clubland labels around 2000 to 2010. But that's what happened, yeah.
Okay. And, obviously, it was a whirlwind of a situation back in the late 90s. Just enlighten the people. What was exactly your first track? And was it True Love Never Dies or?
No, the first track was an experiment because me and Graham got some money and we built a studio. So we did a dance track and it was, I think it was, we'd just been to Ibiza and we called it Sunset in San Antonio because we'd just been on the beach a few days before. So it was an instrumental trance track. We hadn't put a vocal over it. And then we did a B-side to it because obviously in them days it was white label, you had A and B side. The B-side was more popular than the A side, but the DJ started playing it and it was a new name then. Flip and Fill was a new name then. There was no vocals on it. So we started with quite a cool track. So it was okay. So we didn't come from the commercial dance straight away. So we did well to release that white label with a couple of cool tracks on first, you know what I mean?
What was this first track called?
It was called Sunset in San Antonio.
Sunset in San Antonio.
I doubt you'll find it on Spotify because it never got past white label.
Probably not. I've never heard this, but it would definitely be like a trip down memory lane and an introduction because I don't think a lot of people have heard that track. I mean, I don't know, right? But
no, I'll tell you what though. This year, Universal Records have released all our back catalogues. If you go into Beatport or if you go to Spotify now, you can go back 20 years. Most of the remixes are on there. All the tracks that we released on all the albums 20 years ago, 15 years ago, they're all on Spotify. I think there's over 100 records in total that we actually released.
Now, you were talking about, how it was all about trance music and you were about this experimental sound back in the day. What was the dance culture like back in the day, the dance music like? I mean, what was it easier breaking into things back then than it is now or what?
Well, we'd just come out of the 90s, don't forget. So in 1990, I was a house music producer for 10 years before Flip and Fill. So I'd just come out of the house game. When it got to 1998, that the charts in England at the time weren't favouring house music that I was doing at the time. So me and Graham decided to do a pop band. That's how we met. But so we were coming out of a pop era, me and Graham, at the time. And dance music was a bit confusing. You know, house music wasn't like it is now spread everywhere. So you still had more, it was still a bigger struggle to get a record deal in them days if you were doing house music or dance music. But what me and Graham did was we speeded it up a bit, and a lot of people at our time did. It all went up to 140 BPM, which is a bit faster than house music. Yeah. But so that's how it started.
And it's funny because you were talking about bringing down the BPMs to, I guess a more acceptable level among the masses. And I've heard versions of your songs that are sped up, Yeah. So I guess some people they just like the higher BPMs. But
well, the thing is, there's a lot of really, really fast stuff out there, but a lot of it doesn't make it onto the radio or onto the main playlist on Spotify. So, we're quite fast, but we're not as fast as hardcore, which is like hardcore's like, we're like, whereas house music is dum, 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 dum. It's just a bit slower, do you know what I mean? So, we decided to doing not just our own style of stuff like our trance stuff, we're now doing house stuff as well, because then it sort of spreads us all over the world rather than just in the trance genre. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. And I mean, generally, would you agree? 2001 was a big year for you. That was pretty much when things exploded. No, I mean, with that first big hit, True Love Never Dies. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, True Love Never Dies, there was a band called Rank One, and they did a trance record, and some DJ came along.
Airwave, right?
Yeah, the Airwave, yeah. So someone came along and took Airwave and put True Love Never Dies vocal over it. Now, True Love Never Dies vocal was about 30 years old, and we couldn't find out who owned it, and that was an illegal copy that was out there at the time. Now, everyone wanted this record, but it wasn't legal, and it was just a bootleg. So me and Graham decided that, well, it's a shame not to let the world hear that record, because if we don't do it, no one's ever going to hear it. We were in a position to take any record we wanted, make it legal, re-sing it, and put it out. So we got a singer in called Kelly Lorena, who sang Set You Free for Entrance 10 years before. We got Kelly to sing True Love Never Dies. And we did it similar to Rank One, to be totally honest. We sort of what's the word? Yeah, we sort of copied it really, and that went out and went quite big. The next one was all our own music, but we couldn't change True Love Never Died because it's such a big track. So we just kept it as it was, made it legal, released it, and that gave us then the grounds to put more stuff out after that.
It was a massive hit, right? I mean, tell us how big that song was. I mean, would you say it was
huge? It was huge, but if you'd have come in the video shoot when we were filming the video, you wouldn't have thought so, honestly.
Really? Tell us about that.
We were doing a video shoot, and there was a club. We were in a club in Liverpool, and the club opposite, right, was in competition with it. and they didn't like the fact that Flip and Phil were filming in this club because they wanted the fame. So we didn't know at the time. There was a feud going on between the clubs with nothing to do with us. We were just filming in the club, and me and Graham was on stage with the decks and keyboards and stuff like that. And I looked over, and the whole club had emptied, and there was 3 foot of water on the floor. It just came flooded in. They just opened all the taps, and they just ruined the club. We had to carry on filming. So when you watch Trouble Never Dies video, a lot of the club footage, there's no punters in the background because they'd all legged it outside because the floor was 3 foot in toilet water. It stunk while we were filming the video. It's disgusting.
I have to take a second look at that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you choose Kelly Lorena or did she approach you guys?
No, we approached Kelly because Kelly was a mate. I'd Set You Free out with Entrance about 10 years before.
Yeah.
And, she needed another single. And so we gave her that. And the thing is, what we decided to do was we had Kelly Lorena, we had Joe James, who sang Field of Dreams for us and Wanna Dance with Somebody. We also had Karen Parry after that. We've had different session singers. I mean, really, to be honest, really, going back, we should have just stuck with one, which is what I'm doing now. I've only got one singer now because it's good to keep your sound, whereas we just kept changing the sound because we don't know what we wanted. But, yeah, we had Kelly Lorena, then we got Karen Parry to do 2. Joe James to do 2. And then we got Karen Parry to do 2. And then we got Laura to do 2. But, yeah, we've had a good time with all of them. And we've done, not only did we do Karen Parry's solo Shooting Star, we did a solo career for her as well, and Kelly. So we did albums for them as a separate career apart from the Phil as well.
Okay. So, I mean, you would agree that in 2001 was when things picked up. I mean, obviously, tell us about 2001 and onwards. I mean, you guys were trying to break through. You guys were trying to get whatever track you could, so you guys can blow up. And what happened at that point? I mean, obviously, you got a lot of gigs and everything. Did life change for you at that point?
Well, yeah, the good thing was we got loads of gigs. We were out every single weekend DJing. We also got a really top radio show in Manchester, Key 103, which was the biggest Northwest radio show in England at the time. And that was me growing up. That was my dream, to be on that radio show. And they just gave us the radio show for 5 years. We had it for 5 years. It was brilliant. So as soon as Shooting Star went out, it went straight to number 3 in the charts. From that day, we got the radio show. We got gigs every weekend. I was in the studio 24/7. We just did not stop. So basically from Shooting Star, it was just all go until about 2009. It started to slow down a bit when things started to change and the record company started moving on to different styles then. So we had about 9 good years from 2000. We'd never stopped, it just carried on. It's just we'd stopped, we lost the releases because of styles change within the record company.
Okay. I believe somebody's asking here, hey guys, my question is, do you guys have any plans to work with your previous vocalists like Kelly Lorena in the future?
Not really, no, because we've done loads of songs in the past. We've released all our best ones, and now we're concentrating on newer up-and-coming younger singers coming out because there's loads of talent out there. So much talent, it's unreal, and it's like, it's just great to work with new people. We've got our permanent singer, Claire, but what we're doing with the label now is we're working with a lot of up-and-coming young singers, writers, and that's what we're doing from now.
Awesome. Arguably when 2003 came along, you released Shooting Star.
Yeah.
And, tell us about that process. I mean, it's a little bit, it's along the same style, but it's a little bit of a different feel than True Love Never Dies, right? So
yeah, well, the thing is with that was like, I knew then it's like, right, I can get down to proper trance here because then I could do what I want with this track. And also it was written by our mate, Nick Arnold. Now, Nick written this about 10 years before, and it was on a hardcore track. It's like really fast. And that wasn't going to see the charts either at that speed. So we did that with Karen. And there's not much of a story behind that. Oh, there is, yeah. We went and shot the video. Oh, no, it's a different video, that. No, I mean, really, when that went out, once we'd done the video, we were just out every weekend. So there's not much of a story behind that, to be totally honest.
Really? Okay. 2002 was Shooting Star. Then 2003 was I Want to Dance with Somebody. Obviously, a huge track from the 80s, from Whitney Houston. Yeah. And, obviously, that was a big undertaking. for you guys, you know, to have that responsibility to bring that track back. And what was that process like?
Well, that was another one which was sang originally by Whitney Houston. So we got Joe James to do it. Now, the thing is with Joe James, we had Joe James was before Karen Parry. So we tried to find one of the old hardcore singers. Now, in them days, we couldn't find anybody because we didn't have mobile phones and internet. So we searched for years to try and find Joe James. We couldn't find her. So about 3 years later, we finally got to do Field of Dreams. And then we did another single for her as well, and then we did a solo career for her, which didn't last that long. I think she got married and had a baby and came out of the business afterwards. But yeah, we did 2 singles with her. But Field of Dreams, it was just another old classic, and it just had to be really dark. And we did a great video. The video was just absolutely fantastic because it was shot behind the Berlin Wall just after it came down a few years after. So there was loads of buildings behind the old Berlin Wall, and they had all bullet holes in them and things like that. It's just a really cool place. We found this old swimming baths, and it had not been touched since World War II. And we walked in there, and it was just perfect for a video. So we filmed the video there in Germany. It was amazing. So not much of a story to the track, really. Again, we just got Joe James to do it, and then the video was fantastic. And then after that. Yeah, I can't remember which one that was after that now. I think it was Shooting Star straight after that, yeah.
Okay, so you did Field of Dreams, and you did I Want to Dance with Somebody around the same time, right?
Yeah, Want to Dance with Somebody first, then Field of Dreams.
On Field of Dreams, okay. And then obviously you continued on with some Irish Blue with Discoland. I mean, you know, obviously at this point you were touring, right? You were touring all over the place, right? Tell us about your experience touring. I mean, obviously, this type of music was the biggest. It was exploding back in the day, back in the early 2000s. Yeah. So you must have been in front of some substantial amount of people. Tell us about your experience with that. Obviously, you started in '99. What was that like?
Well, the audiences were fantastic because it wasn't just only us on stage. We had Milk Inc., all the others, loads of us on stage. So it was like a big party every night. So Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and it was like a big crew. And we just did it for years, and it was just like such a good time. Not only that, when we were doing the smaller clubs, we was new to a lot of the clubs in England because a lot of the clubs at the time were playing house music. So when we turned up, it was completely different to people that haven't heard it. Because don't forget, you know, it wasn't on telly. We weren't on telly, and we didn't have the internet. So parts of England didn't know us, so it's fantastic going to all the massive places. They'd never heard us before. It was like, wow, where's this music from? It was honestly, it was great, fantastic.
That's awesome. Like, you know, what has been your most memorable performance? Because I've seen a few on YouTube, and I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the things that you guys have been through.
I'd say probably.
Like I saw Clubland live in 2008. That video, and that looks insane.
Yeah, I mean the lightings were, the lighting, lasers, everything. It was absolutely fantastic. They were the best gigs. Clubland gigs were the best gigs, but we had some great ones abroad as well. I mean, we did Mallorca, we did Ibiza. I think Ibiza was quite good as well because over there it was like a lot of house music, and for us to go to Ibiza, it was like totally different music. So they were accepting us as well. A lot of people were just only accepting us, you know what I mean? So it was good. We were like brand new for like sort of 6-7 years. It was great. Only because of no internet now, it would spread really fast now, do you know what I mean? But it was just growing and growing and growing because of no internet, which was quite good for us, I suppose, I
mean, it was much more challenging back then and much more rewarding, I can imagine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had to send out white labels. We had to send out thousands of white labels on vinyl to DJs, and we used to have to get them back in the office, read through them all, see what the comments were. And it's like now you can just do that on Facebook. It's like, honestly, it was so hard years ago. It was ridiculous, honestly. But, we got through it.
Of course. I mean, thanks to the internet for bringing us together here. I mean, or else I'd have to send you a letter or something. But so 04 Irish Blue. It's actually one of my favorites of yours.
Okay.
Tell us about that. Tell us how you came across Junior. Tell us about obviously you must have had an influence behind that song. Tell us.
Yeah. Well, Irish Blue, at the time, Ultrabeat had just released Pretty Green Eyes, right? It went straight to #1. Now, Pretty Green Eyes was written by Junior. So me and Graham, as soon as that went to #1, we're like, who's Junior? Where's Junior? Let's find him. So we found Junior. He said, right, let's do a song. So we got him down from London. He came and stayed at ours for about a week, and we written loads of things, and we came up with Irish Blue. Now, Pretty Green Eyes, Junior didn't sing that, but he'd written it 5 years before. But it was Mike from Ultrabeat that sang it, and he got to #1. But Junior actually written it. So we went straight to source, got Junior, said, right, let's write another song. So Junior was just an absolute brilliant character. He was just an absolute scream to work with. Pretty Green Eyes was about Junior's ex-girlfriend. She was from Ireland and she had green eyes. I think she hurt him. Something like that. Anyway, he said, I know, I'll write this about me now new ex-girlfriend. I said, who's that? He said, she's got blue eyes. So we call it Irish Blue.
There we go.
This is
there we go.
About Junior's ex-girlfriend again.
The man was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And obviously that song, you have a music video for that. I mean, any stories behind that?
Yeah, the music video was absolutely brilliant because if you watch it, it's like a guy trying to get into a block of flats where there's a party going on. Yeah. And it's just a great idea, we're in the flat, we're playing like a rave, because if you think about it, it's quite true to life, because me and Graham got together by doing raves, sort of illegal raves. We could have got into trouble, but we got away with it. And it's like, really, if you look at Irish Blue, that's pretty much what we used to do.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, because years ago, before when I met Graham, I was doing these live raves in Manchester in the recording studio. Graham was supplying the lights for me. And but he wouldn't come to the night. He said, look, you got too many scary people, I'm not coming there. Well, they weren't. They were dead nice, honestly. It was just like, we had some great parties, but that video basically was like what us being Graham in the late 90s, you know what I mean? So it's quite true, really, what was going on. It's quite funny, yeah.
No, of course, yeah. You had so many successes throughout the mid 2000s, and yeah. Obviously you had a career full of singles, right? Mm-hmm. And you also had a career full of a lot of remixes that you did. I mean, your name is synonymous with so many artists because you've done remixes for pretty much every artist in the dance music realm, right? So mm-hmm. Tell us about that experience with doing remixes. You were obviously approached, I'm assuming, by a lot of these artists, and yeah, I mean, tell us the process of that and how that came about.
Well, the situation is they never approached us, they'd approached the record company, because if someone wanted something to sound like our stuff, or they wanted a Flip and Phil remix to go on the radio, then they contact the record company. So the record company were just ringing us up every week going, right, okay, lads. We was doing about 3 a week, right? And it was just day in, day out in the studio, in the clubs at the weekend, and just full on. It was the remixes. It was great because I used to get these vocals, and I just Girls Aloud were the best, because Girls Aloud songs were so difficult to remix, but they were brilliant. I just used to love the songs, but they were so hard to remix. I used to get these vocals, and it's like I just used to get the vocals and just throw the music away. I thought, ignore the music, start a completely different song under the vocal. So we didn't really remix them. I just took the vocal and made a whole new song every time, because that's what I like to do. I still do it now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, obviously you've done remixes for so many big artists. I mean, you have so many remixes. What is one that stands out to you that you're most proud of?
Well, one that I like, and our Ash Bash likes, is Paffendorf. Yeah, Paffendorf, I think. Yeah, I'd say that.
Andorf? Sorry, what is it?
Paffendorf. Paffendorf. It was, I think they were from Germany. I think that's the favourite one out of all. There was a Mickey Medell one, which I actually really like as well. I can't remember the title of it. So yeah, I'd say Paffendorf most of all. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, awesome. Do you still get approached for remixes being done still, or?
No, not at the moment. No, because I mean, like I said, a lot of the world's at 128 house music at the moment, so. Not everyone wants to put the film mix at 140 at the moment, which is another reason why we're coming down to 128, because once we start doing a lot of house music, then we're probably going to get some remixes as well.
How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously times have changed with how music is listened to, and you started off with a style that it's quicker, it's more upbeat. How do you feel about slowing things down? Because, I mean, I'll tell you something. I still enjoy the higher BPM.
Well, I tell you what, I absolutely love 140 BPM stuff. I love it, right? But I also love house music, right? Now, if you think about it, 1990, it was 120 BPM, and then it started going slowly up to 122, 123, eventually ended up at 128, and then we came along and knocked it up to 140. And you know what? I actually do love 140 BPM, but you know what? You've got to put yourself on a dance floor, right? What would you rather be dancing to when you have a few beers at night in your favourite club? What would you rather be dancing to? I can actually dance a bit better to slower stuff because I'm a crap dancer, right? So, so for me, I prefer 120. I prefer it a bit slower. I do, because it's just a bit easy to dance. I think 140, you feel like you're a bit sort of exerted. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
But anyway, I think it's good to slow it down, because I used to like 120 BPM in the 90s, and now it's coming back down. So I actually like the idea it's coming back down. I don't think it should have gone any further up. I thought it should have come down. I think we're on the right track now. I think so.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Like I was saying before, so many events. Is there a kind of ritual, or is there anything that you do before preparing for an event? I mean, what do you do to prepare for an event? I mean, in front of massive amounts of people, you got to do
something. But I don't do any yoga. If anything, I'll have a couple of pints and that's it.
Sorry.
If anything, I'll have a couple of pints of beer and that's it.
A couple of pints of beer, say a prayer.
Don't get me wrong. In the earlier days, I was a bit of a party animal, but now I'm not. Now I'm too old. Sorry.
I see. Yeah. I mean, you also had some side projects as well. I mean, I know that I've heard some of your side projects, like, for example, from Eye Opener, right? Tell us about those side projects, and why did you choose not to use your name?
Right. Well, the situation is, we had the record company that had the Clubland brand album. Right now, the Clubland album went out every 6 months or whatever, and there was loads of artists on there. We didn't have enough artists, so the record company said, right, you just go and do a song just a tiny bit different from what you do, and then we'll give it a different name. So we didn't just have that. There was Eye Opener was me, Graham, and Lee Monteverde. If you look at the Clubland albums are basically produced by me, Lee Monteverde, Mike Discoland, and us three were mainly the main names, but we had a lot of other names on there. So I counted 11 names that I had on Clubland at the time. We was Flip and Phil, we was Eye Opener, which is me, Graham, and Lee. There was DJ Milano, which was me and Lee. There was, what else was there? Pawn Kings as well. We teamed up with the Pawn Kings as well, because Dave's from the Pawn Kings producer left. So I said, right, come with us. We'll do your single. We did Shake Your Shimmy with him. There was just loads. Yeah, so that's sort of how it came about, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the Pawn Kings Shake Your Shimmy. And obviously...
Can I just say, it's just been released last week from Universal. So it's actually now available on Spotify, Shake Your Shimmy. It's just gone right up, with 1.5 million streams within a week, which is fantastic. Brilliant.
That's incredible. I mean, that song came out like 15 years ago, and that's amazing. And I mean, obviously, you're a specimen of the 80s, right? And right, and you a few of your tracks obviously are remakes from the 80s, like, I Want to Dance with Somebody, Eye Opener, Hungry Eyes, Eric Carmen. What are you a really big fan of the 80s, or
No, there was a film called what was the film that Hungry Eyes was in? Dirty Dancing, that was it. At the time when we did Eye Opener, we wasn't bothered about being cool and trancy. So me and Graham and Matt and Chris, the record label, we said, look, we can do anything we want here. We just need another name for Clubland, another artist, another 5 records every year. So it doesn't have to be super cool. You can do whatever you want, guys. So what we did was we went back to the 80s and looked at the biggest songs from the 80s, the biggest covers, and redid them. And Hungry Eyes is one of them.
Awesome. I mean, it sounds amazing. If you haven't heard it yet, go look up Eye Opener, Hungry Eyes. Great song. And What would you say, Mark, is your biggest challenge, creatively, right? Like in terms of coming up with a song and making sure that it sounds good. What is your biggest challenge now and before?
I think the biggest challenge at the moment is not the music, because it's just the record company that we've created. It took 2 years. This is the 3rd year now, so it's been active a year. It took 2 years to make, because when the record company that we were signed to all around the world sold out to Universal, and then they actually, sorry about this, my screen's going off. So what happened was they sold out to them. After that, we didn't have any releases, so it's like, how do we get a release out there? So tried loads of record companies, and no one wanted it because they were all into house music. So what we did was, it's like, right, okay, I'll invent my own record company. So that's the hardest thing, because you've got to be an artist and a record company. But the good thing is I've got a fantastic team behind me. So without that team, it just is not possible. It's a hard business, but if you've got a team, it's doable.
So your record label now is called Filtrate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and you started this when?
Well, we're now into it for a year. I actually came up with the name about 18 months ago, walking down the beach outside. I thought, Filtrate, that's it.
There we go. There we go.
So yeah, we're a year making now, and but it's took us 3 years in total.
Okay, and it's obviously a big challenge, right?
Yeah.
You're responsible for pushing out all your tracks, and
well, you've got this here. This is my studio. Over there is my office, and that's just a mess.
Wow. And do you have any plans to sign any other artists, or?
Yeah, we've got about 6, 7 female singers with us. We've got 5 DJs. We've probably got about 20 artists that we could work with, but we're just not that big a team yet to deal with. So we're trying to get through as much as we can. The bigger we get, the more artists we're going to get. We're only doing what we did 20 years ago. The same thing again, like the Clubland thing. We're just releasing loads of artists. Well, not that many at the moment, but the plan is to release loads of artists, get a big, massive blanket of DJs and producers and singers going, and do the same thing as what we did 20 years ago, but with our own label, with our own rules and our own videos, everything else.
There we go. No restrictions, no holds barred.
No restrictions, mate. That's it.
We have a question from Terry Minogue. Do you have any plans for the future, goals or aspirations you would like to achieve? If you want to mention some.
Yeah, goals what we'd like to achieve. I'd like to be the biggest selling DJ producer on the planet. That's my biggest goal, yeah.
It's good to have dreams, right? And I'm sure you can get there. I mean, especially with your own record label and everything, right? Anything else?
Any other questions?
Let's see. 1 second. We, obviously, you've been in the business for a long time. You've been in the business for, over 20 years now.
30 years.
30 years, really.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Before we get to the question, why don't you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? I mean, you were you always musically inclined? I mean, did you want to be like a big artist, a big DJ when you were a kid, or what?
Yeah, of course I did. 9 years old, my mum put me into piano lessons, thank God. Yeah. And my granddad. I had piano lessons. I used to get sort of bullied at school because I had piano lessons, so I had to go to karate to overcome that. What else? Got to about 15 years old, bought my first synthesizer, and then a drum machine, started doing electronic stuff, electronic dance music. And then when I became a keyboard player in reggae bands for like 2 years, lost my stage fright, went on loads of live gigs. And then in 1990, I did my first house track, and it went straight to number 12 in the charts. So from 1990, I was 21 years old, I was off, and I've not stopped since.
Wow! So you always had this bug, for performing and everything, and for music.
I'm songs in my head all constantly,
Yeah. So are you still working with your partner Graham, or?
No, Graham is now an events manager, and all the singers got different jobs now. I suppose a lot of them have grown out of it, like I nearly did, but because we all are getting on a bit, I'm not young, So yeah, no, we're new team now is Claire Cannon, our new singer, and Luke, our MC. And Luke, you can hear Luke on some of the singles on Shooting Star as well. He's got little raps in the background. You'll hear him. So yeah, that's the team at the moment. Yeah.
I see. Now, what I was going to get to is obviously you've been in the business for a long time, and you've done events all over the world pretty much, and you know you've encountered your challenges along the way. Yeah. I wouldn't know because I'm not in the business, but are there a lot of politics in this industry?
Yeah, there is, but at the moment, 20 years ago, it's a different ball game because it's never been better to be in the music business, because what you've got now is 20-30 years ago when I started, you had record companies and it was just different. Now it's all for the artists. You've got companies around the world now that are pushing artists to make their own labels, like I've just done. You know, if we hadn't had these opportunities to release records by our distributors, AWOL and Cobalt, we wouldn't be in this position now. So there's so many opportunities now for bands, artists. It's absolutely never been so good. So yeah, there is probably a bit of corruption here and there, but it's getting ironed out. You know, everything now is becoming, the main word now is transparent, which means is everyone wants to see what's going on because no one wants to get ripped off. So, which is great. So now the music business is becoming transparent, which is fantastic. Yeah, so it's looking good.
That's really good. Really good. Paul Ganter is asking, what is your favorite thing to cook on the barbecue?
Steak. No, I tell you what, I get a lot of stick for this. Pork chops, and I stick loads of pepper and salt on them, and I get moaned at.
Pepper and salt?
Yeah, loads of pepper and salt on them, but I get shouted from the two boys all the time.
You must love spicy food.
I do, yeah.
There we go.
Pepper's like a cheap spice, isn't it? When you skin it, you just got pepper.
So you have some new songs out. Obviously, we've spoken about your tracks between us, and we've played some of your tracks. I mean, one of my favorites is "Children of the Night" that came out last year, just because of the higher BPMs, right? Where you know. So tell us about these new tracks. I mean, you've these are tracks exclusively from your label. Tell us about this. You know, how you came about to making these tracks, and just tell us about these tracks.
There's a good story behind Children of the Night, because when I was doing my illegal raves in the 90s, a lot of the police were trying to stop all the raves. So I sort of written that song around then, because it's basically saying to the audience, I've written that song because I wanted to stand in front of 10,000 people and sing it to them. And that was the plan. And I've had it for 20 years, that song. I've had it for 20 years. 15 years.
Really?
15 years I've had that song in my head. I've done it about 10 times. And we did the last version about 8 months ago, and that was it. It's like, right, it's getting released. But the story was about the police stopping the raves, and we were just the song is basically saying to our authorities, look, guys, we just did a party, leave us alone. That's what Children of the Night's about.
That's awesome. You have some other tracks as well, like Hurting You, right? And
Hurting You is the first one with our Lucy, one of our new artists, our new singers, which we released about 4 weeks ago, which is another new one, another new written one. Not a lot of lyrics in that one, but there's going to be more in the next one. There's one coming out next week, which is called No Worries, which is a follow-up to Hurting You, which is with our Claire Cannon again, which is another brand new Flip and Phil single. The first Flip and Phil single with Claire Cannon on, which is come down to 128, which is a house music track. So that's a blinder. That's coming out, I think, in about a week. I'll find out.
So make sure if you have Spotify, you go on Spotify and you pre-save Flip and Phil No Worries, right?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, Spotify is amazing. It's like, the record shops years ago, we had to go and buy the records over the counter. Cost you a lot more money. Now you can sit at home and it's cheaper. I mean, you just can't argue with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's simple. Anybody who has Spotify right now, you go on there on your phone and search up Flip and Phil, pre-save their songs and save all their songs pretty much, right? We were talking about you growing up. What were your influences when you were growing up?
I'll tell you, my influences were electronic bands like Howard Jones, Duran Duran, Depeche Mode. I tell you who was my biggest influence, right? Mainly the biggest influence was Jelly Bean, because when Madonna brought her first album out in I think it was 88 or 87, it was produced by Jelly Bean, and Jelly Bean basically does what all those dance producers now to make dance music. You just had a drum machine, synthesizers, and he had Madonna. Now, this is how we make dance music. Now, it's the same thing. We had drum machines. He was just doing dance music with Madonna on that very first album. And I fell in love with all the melodies of his melodies. I fell in love with his drum machines. I fell in love with Madonna's melodies. You know, I think Madonna's best album was that first album. And that's where I got my inspiration from, Jelly Bean.
Wow. So I was right. You're all about the 80s pretty much. You know, you were influenced by the 80s and everything.
I'm not a big fan of the 80s. No, I'm actually not a big fan of the 80s. I'm a big fan of them. I love rave. I love piano house. I love retro Italian house. 80s, take it or leave it, mate.
What do you listen to nowadays?
Lots of tech house, lots of stuff on Spotify, all the main playlists, all the house stuff. Mainly house music, really. I do listen to reggae as well. I love drum and bass as well. The only thing I don't listen to is rock music. That's it.
Okay. You know, we've been in this global situation for a while. I don't know how things are where you are right now. I mean, you're obviously having your vessels, you know, and enjoying that on a patio, which we can't do where I'm at. So I'm very jealous of you, Mark. Very jealous. But tell us about the last time you were at a gig. I mean, where was that? When was that?
Oh, I forgot.
You forgot?
Yeah, I remember the last one. It's about over a year ago. Yeah.
Too many vessels.
Yeah. Honestly, do you know it's like, you know, when you've like, if you're a car mechanic and you've been fixing cars for 30 years and someone said, do you remember that Escort tire you fixed 4 weeks ago? No, you're not going to know it. The amount of gigs that you've done, every single club that I've ever done, it's the same. It just all mingles into one. I can't remember any of them.
Really?
If you ask me about songs, I can remember them because don't forget, you're only in a club for 2.5 hours. You go in there, then you're out. If it's a festival, you're there for 4 or 5 hours. And if you're doing one of them 4 or 5 times a week, you're not going to remember them all. It's just not.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's when you know you've had some pretty epic nights and some pretty epic gigs. When you can't even, you know, pick one, or, you know, it's good. Yeah. You know, we're in this global situation. Things are tough. There are no gigs, basically. What do you hope for when this pandemic is over? I mean, what are you most looking forward to, Mark?
Well, I'm looking forward to, because we've had 2 years, we're going to probably have about 1.5 years, 2 years without any gigs. I'm going to be buzzing because we're going to be going back out with a brand new set, we're going to have about, I'm not joking you now, we're probably going to have about 12 brand new songs to play on our next gig. Our MC Luke's super excited, Claire's super excited, so we're looking forward to it. But, you know, I'm just not building my hopes up because you don't know, so I'm just going to wait and see, and that's it. I'm not booking any flights until someone says, right, it's all completely sound, and that's it, you know.
So I know that you are being advertised for a few gigs this year. I mean, fingers crossed. I've seen Clubland. I've seen the UK. A lot of gigs around the UK. Do you have any hopes for that? Are you preparing for that, or are you kind of just like, I don't know if it's going to happen?
Well, we just don't know. I mean, don't forget, we've just let a load of people out in England, so they've still got to wait for the results of that to come back. So they don't know whether there's going to be more problems after the 3 weeks of everyone going out to the pub. So I think we'll probably know in about a month, you know, whether we're going to be getting on any planes in the future, I think. So I'm sort of holding the judgment for about another 4 weeks. That's what I'm thinking.
I see. You know, you were born in Manchester?
Yeah.
Oh, you were born in Manchester.
Yeah.
You are now living in Tenerife, Spain.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us about that. I mean, why?
Because it's just, I'm allergic to England. The cold makes my skin shrivel up. Makes me happy. I don't like the cold. So I came here, but it's good for me here because I'm just, you know, in nice, peaceful places like on beaches, it's good to write songs. So I'm in the right place to write loads of songs. So I'm just in the right frame of mind. So, you know, it's good because it's nice and peaceful. So, and that's it really. Yeah, I love the sun and I love the beach. So I can sit here for 3 hours, do a song, go down to the beach, have a swim, come back, do another 3 hours, go for a walk, come back, do another 3 hours. So that's what I do constantly. So I'm not overworking. I'm sort of working, but I'm breaking as well. Do you know what I mean?
you're gonna live a long life because
Yeah,
you know when you're
the
next to a
plan,
beach.
so that's my plan, mate.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So you know, you have some gigs planned. A lot of tracks that are coming out. Um, is there anything else that you want to, you know, uh, fill the people in onto what's going on with Flip and Phil?
Well, just keep an eye on our new tracks because we've got loads of completely different new tracks coming out, fast ones, slow ones, new singers, new collaborations. We're going to be collaborating with as many people as possible. So, you know, if you're tuning into our Spotify page or our, you know, website or Facebook or anything, there's always something going on. We're always releasing something. We're going to be carry on releasing songs until we can never release them anymore, which, you know, we're just going to carry on. So, you know, keep an eye on us. We're always going to be coming up with something fresh, you know, and if hopefully you see us on a poster, then we might be able to get there in the near future. Fingers crossed.
Do you think Discoland is the ultimate soccer anthem?
It's a belter, it is. Yeah, I've shouted that back to so many people. That's one of the good things with gigs. It's totally wrong. So don't get me wrong, it's not my favourite song in the world, but I love singing it to thousands of people. It's brilliant, honestly. It's amazing.
You know, you're used to playing gigs in front of thousands of people. Tell us about that feeling of performing in front of all those people.
Well, it's frightening at first, to be totally honest, the first few years, but once you get over that, then you enjoy it, you know what I mean? But like I say, it's been a while.
You're used to it. You're used to it by now, right?
You know what? I even think it's a good idea, even if the worst comes to the worst and there's going to be some social distancing gigs. I think even that's going to be good. Do you know what I mean? That's going to bring some interesting shows. It might all change. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, people are probably going to be in a bubble with their people, with their friends, right?
You know what? It's all really interesting. You never know. I think it's quite interesting what's coming up because you don't know. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to whatever's going to come to us. We'll bring it on.
Ryan's asking, where you're not working, what do you like to do in your leisure time besides hitting up the beach? I'm jealous.
Well, I walk a lot, really. I go on a lot of walks, and that's it. Walk and swim, that's it. That's all I do. Don't forget what I do here. I enjoy doing it, so I'm quite happy sat here most of the day doing this, you know. So it's not like work to me. I enjoy doing it, you know. No,
for sure. It's you know what they say, if you're doing what you love, you're not working at all, really.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's the plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Like yourself, Mauricio, like yourself, mate.
Myself? Oh yeah. I mean, you know, I enjoy doing the radio shows. What is your favorite football club?
Well, I was a Man United fan, but I'm not a big fan of football. You know, I used to live in Manchester, so Manchester City or Man United, you know, both great teams. But I'm not, you know, I can take it or leave it football. But if I push into a corner, I'll say I'm a Red, okay?
Okay, awesome. I guess that's it. Unless anybody else has a lot of questions or any other questions. I mean,
any more questions? Yeah.
We, you know, you were on the show a few weeks ago. It was a pleasure having you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Did you expect to be on so quickly? I mean, it was kind of like a last minute thing. I apologize about that.
The coolest thing about it was hearing your voice, because it's like like hearing someone over the other side of the world with a Canadian accent, which I love. It's like saying, "Hey, Flip and Phil." It's like, yes. So it was a good laugh. Yeah. So I was, you know, we had a bit of a buzz with that. It's quite funny. Yeah. Cool.
Now, Mark, have you ever been to North America?
I've been to Vegas and New York. That's it at the moment. I'd like to go.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting how this, you know, this sound was, you know, it's still so much more prominent over there in Europe than here. And I think, you know, what I've really wanted to do is bring that sound here, you know, and
I love the most, you know, when you said before, what would you sort of, one of your goals would be, I actually forgot, one of the goals would actually to break America and Canada, all that sort of side of the world, because if you think about it, really looking back at us, which I keep saying to Ash Bash, it's the same thing, me direct to Ash, our managing director. It's like, if you look at Scotland, there's a big audience in Scotland that we've got, and there's a big audience in London. Now, if you look at all the countries in the world, we've not actually got there yet. They don't actually know we exist. So, you know, we're just hoping if we can push as much to them continents, then we'll get the same results that we got in Scotland, in London. You know, everyone will just go, bang, we love it. But that's the plan, but we don't know. So America and Canada and all that side of the world, we don't know what we're going to be going down like. So that's going to be a new thing coming up soon. See what our new music does in in that part of the world. So that would be very interesting. Really would love to get Canada side, mate. Really would, totally would.
You posted a few days ago on your social media, Flip and Fill Music, right? The top 10 countries that listen to you on Spotify, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Tell us about those countries. I think we're number 8, Canada, but who are the other countries?
It changes all the time. That's the thing. I couldn't really tell you what it is today, but the countries, I think it's England, Ireland, and then I think it's Australia, then Canada, or Canada, then Australia. I'm not sure. Like I say, it changes a lot. So changes week to week, sort of. Do you know what I mean? But it's growing and growing and growing, because we just, not only are we releasing stuff on Filtrate Recordings, but you've got Universal in the sidelines releasing a lot of our old stuff, like Shaky Shimmy last week. So we're sort of building in 2 directions. So it's quite good. So, there's always the chance that we could hit them continents yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Hopefully we can get you on over here. It's crazy, right? Because everyone here loves Shooting Star.
Yeah.
I mean, they love True Love Never Dies, and
yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of people, that over here in this continent, they listen to all the mainstream music, all the commercialized music.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of people, even till this day, have not heard your old tracks. And,
yeah.
Here on this side of the world compared to Europe, right? So I think that's something that hopefully we can help with here in Canada. With
well, that's great. There's at least over 100 of them to pick from. So and that's why we've done a couple of ones, and we've done a few. We've updated a few of them. We're not going to be doing them all, but if anyone. We've done Shooting Star. We've done. We were thinking about doing some others, but we're more concentrating on the new ones. But all the old ones are there. There's loads of them.
Do you see that? I mean, you're saying things are shifting more to the lower BPMs, the house music. Do you see the? I mean, I guess the higher BPMs, the Euro trance sound, the Euro sound. Do you see that coming back?
Well, basically at the moment you've got Spotify, and if you're on a record label like us, you can see all the figures. So again, this word transparent comes up. You can see where you're selling and what you're selling and where and when. It's perfect. So this is with all this information coming in, you can make your plan. So I'm not saying predicting that a certain style is going to come out. I'm just telling you what's going on at the moment. Is 128 house music stuff at the moment is selling a lot more than the faster stuff. It's just the way it's going on Spotify. But it's changing all the time, and the good thing is we can see all the figures. So if we a new style comes in, we can see it. So it's just it's so better now. You understand what's going on, and you can see everything. You know what I mean? Whereas years ago you didn't have a chance. You didn't have a clue what you were selling. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure. Let's see. People from Australia tuned in. Thank you for coming on.
Brilliant.
Thank you for coming on. I mean, I guess I had a whole list here. I went through all of them. You tell me, is there anything else you want to address before we end this?
I think we've covered everything, to be totally honest. I think the main thing is we've got a new release coming out called No Worries. Okay, and now this is the new one with Claire Cannon again. So this is, do you know what? It's different than all the rest, because I think it's a big, and I don't know, so let's see how it goes. But main thing is keep your eye on our next single, No Worries. Okay. Also, we're going to get some T-shirts saying No Worries. Who doesn't want to wear a T-shirt saying No Worries? It's not going to have Flip and Fill plastered all over it. We might have Flip and Fill down the arm there, or small, but it's going to say No Worries. So we're going to do loads of cool T-shirts as well. So watch out for our singles and our cool merchandise, which will be coming soon.
Do you have a website?
We've got a website as well, Flip and Fill Official. We've got, sorry about this, it keeps going off. We've got merches on the website, and also in the near future, you can actually buy merch from Spotify now. You can go to Spotify and it directs you to the merch site. So, Spotify is getting better and better all the time. The whole thing's getting better. It's the best time to be in the music business, really is.
There's some people that want to know about Blackpool. Do you have anything to say about Blackpool?
Oh, Blackpool was a brilliant place in the 1940s. It was great, for people going on holiday. But I've been DJing there for about 30 years, and it's been done up at the moment. So there's a chance for that place getting some new clubs and that, hopefully. So I don't know. I think he's looking up for Blackpool. It's had a bit of a rough 10 years, I'd say, but I think things are looking up, I think.
I see. Now, I know that you can't remember a lot of your gigs. It's like you've been desensitized to it. Too many vessels. But tell us, Mark, what is the craziest gig that you've been to? Like, what is the craziest experience that you've had? Because you've had a seasoned career in performing and all this stuff, right?
Let me think. I think the best one, was Ibiza. Yeah.
Ibiza, really?
Yeah, I think that was the best one. Yeah, because I don't know, just the atmosphere is different to everywhere else. I don't know, it's like everyone's just constantly partying. It's like you'll come out of one club and it's like it's just not over. Whereas I don't know, yeah, I'd say Ibiza more than anything. I've always loved Ibiza. In fact, the best club I've ever been to was 30 years ago when Ibiza first started. There was a club called Ku, right? KU. And it was, I don't know, I think it might be Privilege now, I'm not sure, but it had an open top, it had no roof. And it was just amazing. And I actually did a gig there in the 90s, but that was the best club ever, I'd say. The best gigs for me, really, to be totally honest, the best gigs for me are the personal ones that we used to do in Bolton, near our hometown, because that was just hilarious. We had an absolute scream. They were the best gigs, I reckon, the smaller ones, the smaller local ones, and Ibiza, I'd say.
Bolton?
Yeah, it's a small town,
I mean, it's close to home, right? I mean, it hits close to home. Yeah.
And, and the Hacienda Manchester as well. But we never did that at Slip and Fill. But, main big gigs, I'd say Ibiza more than anything.
Do you speak Spanish?
The vibe more than anything, not the club's the vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Do you speak the native language over there, Spanish?
I'm trying, but I have a problem in understanding it. I can ask for things, but when you start talking back, I'm like, what? I'm struggling. I don't know. I'm learning as much as I can. When I go on my walks every day, I've got my phone out. I'm learning on my headphones, so I'm trying my hardest. So I'm getting there, getting there.
That's awesome. Okay, I guess we an hour of a conversation with Flip and Phil. Obviously, it was more like a loose conversation, and I hope you appreciate that. And I look forward to hopefully speaking to you again. I look forward to playing your tracks because, the people love your tracks. They love your songs. And I played Children of the Night recently. We're going to play some of your No Worries for sure, right? Brilliant. So I hope for, hopefully for us to talk to you again, at least.
Mauricio, anytime, mate. Ring me anytime you want a conversation. No problem, mate. Anything you need, let us know. Thank you so much for the support. And it's just so good to hear people like yourself, up-and-coming DJs, people. When I say that, I mean people younger than me. DJs that are younger than me liking my music is just, I love it, honestly. Because how old are you, Mauricio?
I'm 31 now. So, you're
still a young'un. So it's just a buzz to hear people younger than me, 20 years younger than me like it. So thank you so much. And thanks for the support, mate. If you need another mix doing, let us know. Anything you need, let us know.
No, for sure. Yeah. Before we sign off, I just have to tell you to stay on. Stay on. And for everybody tuned in, thank you so much for being with us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to us. Please search up Flip and Phil. Go to flipandphilofficial.com, right? Go to Spotify, search up their songs, Flip and Phil, and make sure you pre-save everything. And just support them. And
thank you so much, Mauricio. Yeah. Thank you, everyone that's tuned in. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for listening to us for an hour. And brilliant.
Thank you so much. Stay safe, guys. Stay tuned for this Saturday night. And cheers.
Catch you later.